So what's up, everyone? It is your girl GELBEAUTY87 here, aka Grace. We got another old school versus new school. So in today's episode of old school versus new school, we have the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes palette up against the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. Now I know these aren't exactly the same, but they're both giving the cool tone vibe. So for the people who didn't necessarily want to get Mario's palette, or want to hear about Mario's palette, I figured maybe you could pull out your Artist Couture Supreme Nudes palette, since it's been out for a couple years now, and remember. So we're gonna do an old school versus new school to let you know if Mario has reinvented the wheel with the formulas in this one versus the formulas in Artist Couture's or Mac Daddy's palette, Angel. So from what let's get to the comparisons. So of course y'all know I live for Artist Couture. I love Mac Daddy's brand. Honey, all these little palettes like this I own just about. I think the only one I don't own is the Club Mac Daddy, I think it was, or Club Daddy, something like that. What he did with Katie's husband. But everyone's love of his brand when it came to eyeshadow started off with this palette. At least that's what I remember. I know he had another one called Midnight Maven, I believe it was, that came out at the same time. Dominique Cosmetics came out with Celestial Storm, and I just bought Celestial Storm instead because I didn't need two of the same color story. I know, look at me with 20 of the same color story talking about I need one from that brand. But because it was new and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, I waited, and then everybody raved about this palette, so now I ended up getting it. And I must say, the hype was definitely worth it. Like, the color story of this is stunning. You have to think, like, I think there's literally only one shade that I'm not crazy about. And I love how he named the shades after some of his famous lipsticks too, because I feel like he has a lipstick named Exposed, and I think it's one of the lipstick in here he has named after, or it might not be, I don't know. But I love this palette. A lot of other people love this palette as well. Y'all know I love cool tones, and I like the fact that, like, oh, he has neutral and cool tones in here, and like I can wear a good majority of the shades. Now I feel like people haven't talked about this the way they used to, and so when Mario came up with this, that was one of the palettes I immediately thought of. Now he does have a little mauve section in here, but I feel like most of it is the same as Angel's palette. It's just like on the lighter spectrum. But because of the type of makeup artist he is and the people he works with, I can understand why to him this is like more of the cool tone aesthetic. I appreciate Angel though, and you have to think Angel has a tan, so of course he would be more on my end of the aesthetic than on the end of which Mario is making makeup for. So I can understand why each artist made theirs the way they did, and his little sparkly special shades I'm assuming was supposed to make this palette stand out based on the way he does his clients' makeup. So I get why each artist did each one, but we're here to see if this is supposed to be reinventing the Artist Couture palette and if it's going to be giving what Artist Couture is giving. Because I mean, for me, I feel like it's not, just because y'all saw in the video when I initially used this palette, I could only use like one robe to get the depth and stuff that I needed. So I got my reservations about this, but I figured it'd be fun for you all if I did both, and then we could see how each one works. So what we're gonna do is, of course, I do the oldest palette off camera, so I'm gonna do this palette off camera, and then we will do this palette on camera, and then I'll help you, decide or let you see how stuff is working. Although with this one, I kind of want to do both of them on camera just to see, how it works out, because I'm genuinely curious about how well it's about to work out, girl. And I kind of want to see how both formulas perform on camera. So we might end up doing this one on camera. We'll see. But I'm going to go off camera because I got to take off what's on my eyes regardless of what we're doing. If you're curious what's on my eyes, I actually have on the Man Eater palette from Tarte. I know, right? Who am I? It went like, I think 30% off on Ulta. And then I think I had free money. So I ended up hardly having to pay anything for it. So that's how I ended up in my collection. Plus, y'all know my girl Karen Harris was talking about the formula being really nice. And I was like, say less, Karen. Say less. So then I had to go off and buy it, and you'll hear my thoughts about that in another video, so you have to stay tuned for that. But anyway, I'm gonna go off camera and take this off, and then we'll decide if I'm gonna come on camera and do this with you or not. Okay, be right back. Okay, y'all, so this is the Mario eye. We're going to get into the Supreme Nudes eye now. So here is what the swatches look like as usual. This is Mario, then Angel, Mario, Angel, Mario, Angel, Mario, Angel. Angel is the owner of Artist Couture. So, or Mac Daddy, as he is also known as. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with this shade right here, Transcendent. And then we go into the shade Mink on the outer V. Bronzanine is on the outer part, but the outer V is for the shimmer. And then I believe it's Lavish that goes into the inner, on the front part of the lid and the inner corner. But originally I didn't do it that way in my mind, then I changed it to the last minute because y'all know how to be changing. So we're gonna start off with this. I like both shades. And palette comes in transition shade just because it looks really nice on my skin. Y'all know I'm more of a cool tone lover, so a cool tone shade that matches my skin tone is really nice. The only thing is I feel like this Artist Couture palette has more colors that match my skin tone than the Makeup by Mario one does, and that's why and I feel like Makeup by Mario, I feel like Angel's brand has its own version of like the shimmery, glittery eye situation that Makeup by Mario has in his palette, so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that. In fact, let me swatch it now. I believe it's a shade called Opulence. Yeah, it's supposed to be his like form of glittery version of shimmer, just like the Makeup by Mario. It's just more of a bronzy shade. So this last shade I literally just swatched, it's supposed to be like his version of these shades that Makeup by Mario put in his palette. So I might put that on the other side just so you can see how it looks on the eye. That's another reason I wanted to use Angel's palette on camera, because it's like you've already seen that Mario has that and you already saw my initial review on it. And if you did not, try to remember to link it up above, or you can search Makeup by Mario in my channel. Just because, you know, I have so many videos to film that a lot of times if I can just get them up good for the day before you all get up and manage to get a thumbnail, I feel like I'm doing good. Because when you come up with so many ideas and have so much content in mind, sometimes it's harder to, you know, remember to add little details that can be truly helpful. But it's just like, because I film so much, I'm just glad to get the video up, y'all. I hate to say it, but like a lot of times when I get it edited, get it up, so it takes forever to upload everything, because I try to upload them all at one time to make sure I don't have to try to go back later and do it individually. It's just a lot. So a lot of times y'all have to notice I'm having end cards on stuff. I don't really have cards attached during the video just because it took forever to upload the video and I still need time to sleep in addition to do all the other stuff I normally have to do live, since this is not my job. So I think I do a good job of all of that considering. But look how nice and dark that shade is. I feel like it's darker than the Makeup by Mario one too. So again, I just want to accent and show that, you know, Angel's palette is like a more brown girl friendly version of this cult classic product, or I feel like people are going to try to make into a cult classic product. So I just want to give all the brown girls an alternative and make sure you remember that, you know, Mac Daddy was out here doing it first, okay? Just so we're clear. The battery's about to die, so let me go off camera. I'll put my glitter glue on off camera and then I'll come back and we'll, you know, get into the shimmer shade. Here y'all, so I'll put the glitter glue on. So we're going to start off with the shade Bronzanine on the back. I'm actually going to switch to this shade Opulence to put on the lid in the inner corner just so you can see the difference of the sparkle in it versus the sparkle in the Makeup by Mario. So, let's go ahead. I feel like these look really. Now we're going to go into the shade Opulence. I was telling you about this would be his version of like that flecky. Okay, so if you can see, it has the same kind of glittery reflective particles. I feel like Mario's is just a little softer, but you can clearly see they both have that same kind of texture, and then you saw it swatched on my hand as well. So his just has a little bit more reflective particles. I feel like the one that Angel or Mac Daddy or the owners of Artist Couture picked, like, aren't as, you know, reflective as his are, but that's because it's closer to my skin tone. Maybe if you were a lighter skin tone, it might do about the same thing, and we all know that Artist Couture is going to be more affordable than the Makeup by Mario one. So that's the main reason I wanted to put this one on and focus and let you know, like, there is you know, a shade like that in the Mac Daddy one. And since Artist Couture always has amazing sales and everyone was head over heels crazy about this palette, I wanted to show that it has like a similar kind of effect to it. It's just in one shade though. It's not in all, it's not 3 and 4 shades in the palette like Makeup Mario did with his palette. So that was the main thing I wanted to focus on and make sure that you saw. So now let's go into the inner corner shade. So the inner corner shade is the shade Lavish. That's the one I was initially going to put on the lid and wrap around because it matches the colors better. But I want you to see the glitter particles instead. So that's why we're just going to pop her in the inner corner real quick. So let's back on up and talk about my thoughts now that we finished the eye look. So remember, this side is Mario and this side is Artist Couture. So when it comes to both these palettes, I like each one for different reasons, but at the end of the day, y'all know I was gonna pick Mac Daddy's palette. Mac Daddy's killing it. It's giving more shades that I can actually use on my skin tone. First of all, it's giving a lesser price point. It's still giving that same type of sparkly shade that looks nice on the lid. I will say I like the sparkly shades in Mario's palette better just because I feel like there's a more variety of them for different tones. But it's like Angel had already did that and gave you this same kind of format of palette. So it's like, I'm gonna just say go with Angel if you my skin tone. And then buy like the single shadow that he has in, I think it's called Bronzite or whatever, if you want that type of effect on the lid. So that way you'll already have a whole palette that works for your skin tone better for your my skin tone. And then you can have one of those individual shades that he sells like in this palette now. Now the form on those isn't the same, so don't think I'm telling you the form is the same. But if you want that kind of effect, you can always just, you know, buy that single shade. And then you'll already have like a new cool tone palette that works better for your skin tone, in my personal opinion. So I pick Artist Couture, of course, just because I feel like this one's overpriced for what it is. But I understand you have to pay for like the sparkly glimmery shades that he put in here and all that. It's just, overall, I feel like the good majority of the things in this palette don't work on my skin tone. And that's why I'm not going to tell you about it. That's just it. That's just it. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are dimes. You can comment down below and tell me your thoughts on it. But I just remember that he had that reflective sparkle shade in it, so I had to share it with y'all. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are dimes. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.